Hello, my name is Edward L. Scott Jr. and in today's video we're going to be reviewing two videos watched, one by Mr. Brendon Burchard and the other by Miss Sonja Lyubomirsky. Starting with the first video with Mr. Brendon Burchard, his approach to happiness, though intended to be a positive one, does not necessarily hold scientific validity. Starting off, Brendon Burchard touches down on how happiness is something that can be achieved, but is something that we all have to work at. He also elaborates on the fact that, with regarding happiness, that common sense is just not common practice. He's able to convey his message by making connections on a personal level, by stating it's things that we all deal with, and he almost elaborates that it's like a muscle that can be trained, and he starts to list ideas that if you don't have anything to look forward to, find something to look forward to, whether that's getting up and just making the bed in the morning or getting excited. He's saying that happiness starts with you, and that you as in us, we're all in control of our happiness, and that if we're not happy, it's something to do with one personal self, not necessarily do with anything else. But again, there's no scientific validity proving such or otherwise. Essentially, he tries to validate, happiness by talking about past, present, and future. He states, are we looking at the past with gratitude and, fond recollection, even if there were struggles? Even if there are struggles, are we appreciative of them is, one of his talking points. And in the present, are we challenging ourselves in what we are doing to bring a full conscious presence to the moment? So he's saying, what are we doing to be fully engaged and involved in things? And again, he doesn't really provide a scientific solution or resolution to his actual own question. Rather, he just states ideas that we need to just be more focused in what we're doing to be happy. Going on to the physical aspects of being happy, he lists information regarding, simple information that we know, eat healthy, work out, the basics. But he tries to, elaborate that, if you're not eating healthy, or if you're not, being actively healthy, or if you're not having or practicing healthy habits, that's also going to be a cause of your unhappiness as well, which does have scientific validity in retrospect. But in regards to his actual claim, again, he does not provide any scientific proof of such. Additionally, going on to his website, is, in my opinion, propaganda-based. He has a lot of accolades and acknowledgments, a lot of information with numbers regarding his number of followers, number of people who follow him on social media accounts, talk show hosts, comments. But nowhere on his website is there any scientific validity regarding any of his claims. There are no real collegiate level awards. Like there's nothing regarding his educational background whatsoever. It's just full of what I call fluff information, and essentially kind of points to the narrative that he is more of a motivational speaker, and is a good public speaker nonetheless, in the way that he's able to get people hyped up and get people excited for things. But essentially, he does not have any scientific validation regarding any of his claims. Going to the next video by Miss Sonja Lyubomirsky. Her video actually goes through an experiment that she performed regarding happiness, and it was regarding students. She advised that she had, went through a 6-week process to conduct this study, and that there were elements as far as a control and outliers to make it a legitimate scientific study. But she did lead the video with a Chinese proverb stating that if you want happiness for an hour, to take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a month, to get married. And if you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. But the last one was if you want happiness for a lifetime, to help somebody else. And there was a Chinese proverb that was being stated. She actually did prove the validity of it with her scientific research and study. She showed that during her research, that participants who participated in doing acts of kindness all in one rather than spread out were happier than those who did their acts of kindness spread out, and even happier than those who did not do acts of kindness. proving that we as human beings tend to be happier when we are doing things for others or performing acts of selfless kindness. Ultimately, it was supported by her research, and then in regards to her actual website itself, it lists her office address as far as working for the Department of Psychology for the University of California, her contact information as well as her academic history, and it's not as much filled with headlines or quotes from to support her validity. She just has information and facts regarding places where she has spoken publicly or performed or gave a presentation. But in regards to happiness as an overall, again, Mr. Burchard made it seem as if it is something that is self-attained, but it's something that we have to find within ourselves, and that if we're not happy, it's something that we need to change within ourselves. Whereas Ms. Lyubomirsky presented that we are more happiest when we are doing selfless acts of kindness for others, or doing kind things for others, or helping others. And I guess touching down on a stressful event in my life, I know that moving can be a hassle, and I actually recently just dealt with the stress of that. Residing in Colorado, the cost of living is substantially a lot higher than it is in other places in the country. So it was a stress that was not only on my mind, but something that was hard to shake. Me personally, the way I deal with stress is going to work out. I do typically eat healthier, which I know that your diet does affect your body. It's time to stay away from junk food that may add to stresses, but working out, I'm able to work through my stresses. I reflect on things and I'm able to process things without letting things get down on me. And I typically feel better afterwards. Working out not only helps me to relieve my stress, but also as a confidence builder. You feel good typically after doing something or an activity such as working out. So my personal experience with stress, again, just dealing with having to move and the hassle of locating an affordable place for rent is something, as well as finding a suitable home, somewhere that's not dangerous, or for lack of a better word, ghetto or anything of the sorts. But I guess my only personal experience with stress, at least most recently, was dealing with that, and the way I persevered through that is by working out, and gathering my thoughts during the process. But again, this is my video on the presentation on Mr. Brendon Burchard and Ms. Sonja Lyubomirsky. Thank you for your time and your patience in watching this today. I hope you have a good one.